And I said at the time, Leon, I'm going to make this $1 billion company. This is in 2005.
Yep.
This is the plug from the first business. And that's me, and that's the guitar owned by one of the angels.
Do you remember when you made your first million? Was it a sort of seminal moment, or this might go back to pre?
How do I value that though? At the height of the dot-com boom, there was an Australian company that was a little internet service provider. And they came to me and they said, Richard, you know, we've now been bought by this huge American internet service provider, and we want to buy your company. I said, why do you want to buy our company? You know, your internet service provider. He said, oh, but software's the big thing. If we had software, that'd be really cool. We're prepared to offer you after some discussion, we're prepared to offer you $4 million. So I figured, well, okay, that's a lot of money, you know, but what do I actually get? I get shares in an internet service provider in the US, which is escrowed for 12 months. And I thought, that doesn't actually sound like a good deal to me, because all this dot-com thing looks like bullshit anyway. It didn't feel like real money, it felt like play money, right? 6 months later, the head company was bankrupt. So that dodged the bullet. And that was about not caring about the money, but caring about the business and about the trajectory of the business.
Yeah. So it could have been your first billion that you made and then lost on paper very quickly.
Could have been, yeah.
What do you miss about those times, those earlier times in your life, and what did you learn from them, do you think, that you apply to your business?
Oh, I've never had the problem of looking back and wishing I'd done something different. I'd much rather look forward and think, how do I do better now? No, I look at my friends. I played in really 4 different bands over the course of time, and all of them were fun, and all of them had, you know, you'd work in a sleazy pub or, you know, sticky carpet, and you'd realise, oh, this is why I don't do it. You know, I remember this.
Do you have a favourite guitar that you've got in the house? Or?
No, not really. I think these are nice, interesting things to tell stories about. Many of these are signed. I mean, if you come out the side here, I'm a Bowie fan as well.
30-year anniversary then. How do you celebrate something like that?
It's just another year, and we've got to look forward to 5 and 10 years forward from here, because there's a lot more to do. There's so many more things to build. Even if I was to stop work immediately and just do nothing, the company wouldn't even blink. It might, maybe my fun stuff and, you know, vision for the future would eventually fade, but that's something that's easily replaceable. There's lots of talented, intelligent people around. This is the book that taught me how to repair guitars.
So how long have you had this book for?
Since the 1970s sometime. It's a lot about the technical things about guitars. It was quite an interesting book. I read it a couple of times and thought, oh, I can do that.
So this is where it all began, with this book?
This was where the guitar repair business began. It's pretty interesting, right?
What is it about the culture that you think has been created that genders that sort of loyalty?
So culture is about being conscious of what you're supposed to be delivering and choosing how you build that. And so the culture drives the strategy. The strategy is very important, but without culture, you can't deliver strategy.
Is it a risk-taking culture then as well?
Well, risk has never worried me, because what you do is you figure out what the risks are, you assess what they mean, whether they're real, and then you work on how to take the biggest opportunity and minimise the risks as much as possible. So there's no reward without some risk. What you do is you take the risk intelligently and you mitigate that risk as much as is possible.
I mean, would you have thought 30 years ago that the company could be this size? Did you have that ambition ever or not?
No.
No. Is there any piece of business advice that you might give that, you know, might be a bit out of the blue or people might not expect?
You've got to be moderate and mild and reasonable, but you have to learn how to say no, and you have to learn to say that's not good enough, and you have to be able to be politely disagreeable, because otherwise you get pushed all over the world and people use you as a carpet. But those things are really quite powerful, and I think I probably exhibit those 3 characteristics quite strongly.
All right, I like that. Anything else you want to do? Anything else you want to do?
This one's probably tuned.
These sort of things out of
This is the joke. These days I can afford to be a musician.